Hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm the host of a podcast called Clothes Horse. I've been working in product buying, product development, and product strategy for a couple of decades now. And what that means, other than like it looks super impressive on my LinkedIn, is that I really understand how the things we buy as customers are made and where the prices we pay for those things originate. And while I know we would all love to hope otherwise, because we're all looking for a silver lining somewhere, I want to be clear that I do not believe that Trump's tariffs are going to fix fast fashion. In fact, I think that things are going to get a whole lot worse if these tariffs stick around, and specifically in three ways. One, the human exploitation that already exists to create low price, high profit product is only going to get worse. Two, the quality of the things we buy, which I know is terrible right now, is somehow going to get worse. I know it's hard to believe, but it will. And three, small businesses who are already working so hard to do things in the most ethical, thoughtful way are going to bear the brunt of these tariffs and possibly not make it through the next few years, leaving fast fashion and all of its unethical behavior and low quality products as the only option we have left. Wow, that's really depressing. I'm sure you totally want me to come to your next party, maybe your birthday dinner, to just totally depress everyone. To understand why I believe that these tariffs will not fix anything and actually make things worse, you have to understand three really important facts about how things are made right now in this world. One is humans make everything we buy. And when we're talking about clothing and accessories and shoes, which is my primary area of expertise in my career, humans are sewing things, they are cutting things, they are inspecting things and packing things and making samples and doing all of these things. Humans are an important piece of the puzzle. Robots do not make clothing. Humans make clothing, okay? Two, most brands, in fact, I would say just about all of them, except for maybe huge ones like Zara, do not own their factories. They instead are contracting projects out to factories, production runs for specific items. So in one factory, you might have Shein stuff being made one week, Anthropologie stuff the next week, maybe Kohl's the week after that. So these products might not be made of the same fabrics or have the same aesthetic, but they're all being sewn by the same human hands. Number three, manufacturing overseas is not a synonym for unethical or human exploitation. There are brands out there who work with factories that really do pay a living wage, provide safe and pleasant working conditions for their staff. And those factories are all over the world. And there are so many amazing small slow fashion brands that work with these factories. And I like to think if they could expand that model and more companies could see that this is a business that works, that there would be even more factories like that. However, I'm going to tell you, I do not believe that these tariffs are going to make work more pleasant for people around the world. And while there are some factories where things are ethical and pleasant and living wages are paid, there are also many more where those things are not true. Everything we buy, whether it's clothing, shoes, a new iPhone, it doesn't matter. It's all part of a long product development process. It starts with designs, then sampling, then a long dance between production, design, and buying to make the math. You see, for these teams in these corporate environments, they're given targets they need to hit in terms of cost and profitability. And so what they're going to do is revise the product and its designs until they can hit that price. And that means changing out the fabric, losing details, cutting out other materials, going back and forth, and then ultimately making up the difference after all of that by pressing the factory for lower costs. And in most cases, the factory has no choice but to agree to those lower costs because, once again, those factories aren't owned by the company. So if the company says, hey, you don't want to honor our costs, cool, we're going to take it somewhere else and we're going to stop doing business with you at all. And perhaps word will get out there that you are not accommodating on costs, and now no one will work with you and you will go out of business. So, in like 99.9% of the situations in my career where I have asked for lower pricing, I have gotten it because they have no choice, right? And who really bears the brunt of these lower prices? It is the employees in these factories who are making the things that we buy. This means they get paid less and they work a lot faster and harder, and things are just worse and more unsafe. By now, I hope you recognize that tariffs are not paid by the country making the product. They are made by the company importing the product into the United States. For example, if Target places a huge order with a factory in China to make a bunch of t-shirts, right? When Target pays for that t-shirt, considers the entire cost of that t-shirt, they are thinking about the cost of the materials, the cost of the sewing, the cost of the boxes and the poly bags and the labels, the cost of shipping it to the United States, and of course, the duties and tariffs involved in getting that into the country. And when those tariffs increase exponentially, as they have right now, that means that Target's going to be looking for other ways to make the math on that t-shirt. And they have three options. One is that they just make less profit, which, real talk, they're not going to do. Their business model is built out of selling you lots and lots of inexpensive, high profit stuff. That's how the math for those businesses. So that's one option, which they're not going to do. Two is they could increase prices for the customer, and they might a little bit. But the reality is that, and this is not just an American problem, this is a problem in the global north. This is a problem in this world, is that we are addicted to cheap stuff, right? We want lots of stuff and we want it cheap. And so a place like Target or any other brand for that matter can only raise prices so much before customers are going to be like, peace, see you later. So now we know, okay, the company can't really accept a lower profit margin and they probably can't raise prices very much. So that brings their third option, which is, get ready for this, press the factories on lower costing. And I want to be clear with you, all of my friends who still work as buyers in companies all around the world have been doing that for the past week, pressing factories for lower prices, which means these factories have no choice but to say no or lose that business forever, which means workers suffer. And these buyers, my friends who are buyers, they may also be like, hey, can we get a cheaper fabric? Is it too late? Can we get rid of the zipper? Can we make the t-shirt a little narrower and a little shorter so it costs less to make and we can cover the cost of that tariff? I promise you this is all happening right now, and it's all really, really bad. Once again, if factories say no to lower prices, then companies are going to move to other factories or to other countries that have a lower minimum wage or maybe don't have as much regulation of workers' rights and safety. Some governments may look the other way on things like wage theft and worker safety in order to keep that manufacturing money flowing into their countries. The tariffs are not going to fix this. Okay, you're asking, I'm sure, because this is part of the spin around these tariffs. Couldn't companies just move their manufacturing, like for example, of clothing, back to the United States and then everything would be fixed? Not so fast there. Because I'm going to tell you, there are clothes that are made here in the United States, mostly in LA and other parts of California. And it's expensive because our minimum wage here is significantly higher than other places throughout the world. And furthermore, we have a lot more regulations around worker safety and working conditions and the amount of hours a worker can work and so many other things that are actually amazing and I'm so grateful for, and to be honest, could be even stronger in this country. That's how intense these other countries are in terms of policy around that. It's really expensive to make clothes here in the United States right now. If you want to make a t-shirt in LA, that's cool. I think you should. Be sure your customers are ready to pay about $100 for it, because that's where it's going to cost out when all is said and done. Because here's the other thing. I want you to picture an article of clothing. Perhaps it's one in your body, one hanging in your closet, one laying on the floor, whatever. Think about all of the ingredients in that garment, right? We've got the fabric or the yarn. We've got zippers and the little hook and eyes that always fall off, right? We've got thread and snaps and buttons and grommets and lining and interior labels. And that's just the beginning of it, right? the dye used to screen print the print or all over the fabric or just in one spot, right? All of these things require are materials that are required to make clothing. And guess what? Pretty much none of them are made here in the United States, which means even for brands who are working super hard and to do things the best way and produce here in the United States, at bare minimum, the zippers and fabric are coming from overseas. And so these tariffs are going to drive up prices on all of these brands that work really hard to do things in the best way. And for small brands who do work really hard to do things in the most ethical way outside the United States, they're about to lose a market, the United States, because their customers can't afford these tariffs, these additional costs on the products shipping into the country. So now, I do not believe that tariffs will fix fast fashion. But you know what I do believe will fix fast fashion, will end fast fashion? Us, you, me, everyone we know, by taking a stand, being active citizens, and changing our own personal behavior. So that means calling our senators and our representatives and telling them right now that guess what? They're not going to have a job in a year or two if they do not take a stand against these tariffs, right? It means showing up for protests and showing up for other people in our communities. It means when it comes to our own relationship with buying cheap, profitable stuff from these fast fashion brands, we slow it up. We buy a lot less new stuff. We skip the impulse shopping and we shop secondhand whenever we can. And when possible, when we do need something new, we shop small and local. We support these brands who are working so hard when everything is stacked against them to do things the right way. And you know what? We can change this. We don't need tariffs to dismantle fast fashion. We need us. And we can do it. And we're already starting to do it. And we just need to get everyone else we know involved in doing it too. If you have more questions about tariffs, because obviously I cannot cover this all in a short video, there's so much nuance, so much to talk about, add your questions and maybe I'll do a sequel. And if you're looking for more information about how fast fashion works, how you can buy less stuff, how you can do good things in difficult times, go check out my profile. Bye.